For more information on today's program, contact Erica Taylor Montgomery at threegirlsmedia.com. Now, back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on the Bay Area's business leader, AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Radio Network. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery. And if you have questions about what you need to do to market your business, you can call us live today and get those questions answered at 800-516-1220. That's 800-516-1220. Our guest is Andrea Bailey of Lightbox Communications. And Andrea, I'm curious, what do you think is the number one thing that businesses should do to market themselves?
That's a good one. I think be really clear about your purpose. Once you know why you're in business, why it matters, and to whom, a lot of your marketing plan is actually going to develop from that really organically, because then you know who you need to talk to. It gives you a reason to write. It gives you a reason to connect with people. And you'll have that reference point to always go back to when you have a question regarding, would this tool be a good fit for my marketing plan? Or would this be something that supports my mission or that's helpful for my tribe and my people? So being really clear on the purpose of your business is super important.
And the audience that you're trying to reach, I'm sure.
And the audience, yes. And actually picking a niche is probably the second most important thing, being really clear about who your people are and why you are the one who can serve them best. What can you do better than anyone else to help them and to make your lives a little easier?
Perfect. So maybe, Andrea, you can share some sort of tip or trick for helping to make marketing either easier for businesses or maybe more efficient for companies.
Yeah, what I like to recommend is to always ask yourself, what else can I do with this? So because especially if you're a small business, you probably don't have a whole marketing department at your disposal. You're going to be a lot of things yourself. And so let's say you're writing a newsletter. You're creating all this content. What else can you do with that? You might be able to expand it into an article and submit it to a publication that your target audience really loves. Or you might be able to chop it up and add some really good questions and photos and make them into engaging Facebook posts. And so that way you don't have to create everything from scratch, and you're really getting the most mileage out of every marketing action that you're already taking.
It's fantastic. Absolutely. I encourage, our clients to multi-purpose their content as much as possible and get all the mileage out of it you can. You can share blog content and break that up into small chunks and use it in your social media posts. You
Absolutely.
can take a blog post and use that as part of your content for your e-newsletter, or take maybe a short e-newsletter article and expand that into a blog. There's so much cross-promotion that you can do with good marketing content, and you should really leverage that as much as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So, Andrea, a lot of businesses have social media sites. Facebook, of course, is the gorilla of social marketing right now, but there are so many others that businesses are engaged in, be it Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn. So I'm wondering if you might be able to share some tips to help our listeners who really feel overwhelmed by the task of filling up their social media with engaging content. The two biggest complaints that I get from our clients at Three Girls Media and Marketing is, number one, I'm so focused on the day-to-day tasks of running my business that I don't have time for the marketing. And then number two, even if I could carve out the time for marketing, I have no idea what content I should be putting out there. So what would you suggest to those sorts of folks?
Yeah. So for the content, I think a fun way to think about it is that you're giving people a backstage pass to your business. And what that does is it really fosters that human connection, and that's what social media is so good at. So you talk about your work, but from the perspective of how am I approaching it? So you could think about what has been inspiring me lately. What does my process look like? What's happening in my studio? Who are the people I work with? what materials do I really love? Where are my ingredients coming from? So you're talking about yourself and your product, but from all these different angles, and you're going behind the scenes. So instead of just always showcasing the facade of your business, your product, or your service, you're actually going a little deeper and giving them additional information and additional insights that they wouldn't normally get, and that makes them feel more connected to your work, to your mission, to your purpose, and to the things that you actually offer.
You know, I think that's so important because one of the things I always say is that people want to do business with other people. They don't want to do business with some nameless, faceless entity. So if you can really share some personality and who you are and who the people are who work with you on your social media or in your blogs or your newsletters or whatever you're doing to market yourself, I think that that'll strongly be to your advantage.
Oh, yeah. It's so important, and it's so funny when you think about it. You know, as soon as we get into marketing mode, right, we're thinking, oh, okay, now I'm doing marketing. Then suddenly we forget how we actually like to be marketed to ourselves. And I think nobody is sitting there and is wondering, oh, how can I get a really awesome sales pitch going? How can somebody try to manipulate me better? Nobody wants that. But we get into this mode where we think that we have to put on our marketing hat and be someone else or pretend to be bigger than we are or something professional and businessy, and just let go of the human element. And actually, especially for small businesses, it's such a strength to just be a person and be relatable and to make that connection on a human level. It works so well.
Absolutely. And, you know, that actually brings me to another question. And some small businesses, I think when they market themselves, really come across as that sleazy car salesman stereotype, you know, where it's push, 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 sell, sell, sell. So, what do you think that companies can do to get out of that mode where it's a constant push to sell, 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 and really start to enjoy their marketing and do it the right way?
Yeah, I think it's the key is to think about how can I be helpful. And it sounds a little bit cheesy, but go back to your purpose, why you're in business, who you want to help, and how what you do matters. And if you go into the interaction of marketing with the intention of being helpful, it becomes really fun because you suddenly know that you have something to offer. You also have something to offer that doesn't have to appeal to everyone. So that whole pressure of trying to connect with every single person at that event or blanketing the whole town with your message, that's just gone. You don't have to do that. It's uncomfortable and you can just let it go.
Sure.
And instead, ask questions, listen in, try to connect with the people that you actually resonate with the most and build that human connection. And it might happen or it might not happen. And if it happens, it's so much better than because you have that genuine intention of being helpful. It's fun to have something to give that's helpful to other people.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a great way to start in business. And I also mentioned that in my Punch Marketing Minute in terms of networking is that you should really approach it from a way to be helpful and not from a point of simply selling yourself and your services.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and our guest is Andrea Bailey with Lightbox Communications. And if you have questions about what to do to market your business, you can give us a call live and get your questions answered at 800-516-1220. That's 800-516-1220. You can also email us at punchmarketingradio@gmail.com. That's punchmarketingradio@gmail.com. And if you'd like to learn more about me and my public relations and social media marketing agency, you can visit us at threegirlsmedia.com. That's threegirlsmedia.com. And Andrea, how do companies get a hold of you at Lightbox Communications?
The easiest way, I think, is to come to my website, and that's just lightbox-communications.com. And there's a little tab on the top that says Make Contact, and that's what it allows you to do.
Terrific. So do you have like an email sign-up or something like that on your site?
Yeah, I do a free newsletter about once a month with a lot of marketing inspiration and tips. So that would be a good way to stay in touch.
Wonderful. So all you have to do to contact Andrea is go to www.lightbox-communications.com. candice-communications.com. Go to her email sign up, and she will send you that great e-newsletter once a month. Terrific.
I'll be happy to.
Yeah. All right, Candice, when we come back, or Andrea, sorry, when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about advertising and what businesses should do in that regard to market themselves. You're listening to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, and we'll be right back.